about you? What have you been up to?
Been resting, been getting my energy back. Got my Tuesdays back, so if you want to move your cast to Tuesday, that's okay.
Okay, yeah, we
Um,
won't. Then we won't have to record tomorrow if Tuesdays are back.
yeah, Tuesdays
So
are
I'll
back.
just post. I'll just post the topics on Monday night,
All right.
and then yeah, I'll just do it live or go back to doing it live.
Be like, what's his name? That guy who got fired from Fox News. We'll do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. It's like, dude, calm the fuck down. You're not that important, Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
The thing is, you know, I ended up posting the last cast late because
mm-hmm.
I was having trouble because I had to split it into two parts and I had to combine them. And the software I was using didn't like MKV files, so I had to go into Handbrake, convert it to MP4 because OBS records in MKV. I think there's probably a way to change that. I would have to go in the settings,
Yeah,
but yeah, what a pain. So I just ended up uploading it.
yeah. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't even use the recording function on mine. I just use the streaming. When I want to record stuff, I just capture footage with my graphics card, and then I take that and I record voiceover over it,
yeah,
which is easier for me than trying to like. Except for some reason, every other time my card updates, what winds up happening is the shit fucking it changes my download spot because I have a hard drive that's dedicated to just downloads
yeah.
and recording gameplay footage. And it keeps on changing it to my main C drive. And I'm like, why do you keep on doing that?
Yeah.
That is so annoying. Anyway, let's get this party started. It's 7:30. Uh hopefully there we go. Shit. Hold up. Huh. Okay. Let me make sure this shit is done. Uh, okay. All right. Thing was acting weird. Hello, we're live on another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. Those of you who are watching live, those of you who are watching um, in the future, recording of this, thank you. I'm joined by the usual suspect. Go ahead, introduce yourself, sir.
Kenoshi Abominito. Here to say glad to be on another one of these BS Busters. And yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Um, yeah, so we have a few topics to talk about tonight. We've got a serious talk about the upcoming Mario movie, Starfield, what is the worst good game you've played, Google tone deaf marketing, and finally we will cover what games we're looking forward to this/next year, and we'll finish it out with free topics. So I guess we can start with a more serious talk with the upcoming Mario movie. Um, yeah, I rewatched the trailer a few more times, like two or three more times, and I noticed something that immediately kind of bothered me a little bit, aside from Chris Pratt's complete lack of trying to do a voice for the character because he's not a
yeah.
voice actor.
Yeah.
Everyone else is trying, like Jack Black. Like you almost don't know Bowser is Jack Black until like he taught until the end of his sentences because he can't stop that Jack Blackness from coming out.
Yeah. I mean, but he's done voice acting.
Yeah, he's been
He's
voice acting for
done.
a while because he was in Kung Fu Panda, but that was
Yeah.
just him playing himself. But he did try to do some different stuff. Um, But my point is this: is that everyone else is trying to sound different, except Chris Pratt, and
Yeah,
that's just a minor thing. The fact that they have basically whitewashed all of the Italianness out of Mario is disturbing.
yeah,
Like it's like, I mean, he's a guy from Brooklyn. Like, why are
yeah,
you?
pretty much.
Why do you keep on trying to like? Oh no, it's like no. Why can't we just have a dude from Brooklyn? What's up with
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that statement. I also, because again, I went into this not really expecting a lot because I was like, I just sighed when I heard the casting and
No, I'll be
the
honest. No, sorry. Go ahead.
and the the animation studio behind it, and I was just like, and then and then and then I actually saw the trailer, and I like what they did with the animation looks fantastic. It looks like some of those people with the
All the Italianness.
it'll probably be there will be a much stronger opinion once we actually hear more lines come out like Chris Pratt. But as far as I can tell, it seems like everybody else has been trying. So
Yeah, they put effort in, and Chris Pratt's well. I'm Chris Pratt. It's like, yeah, but you're not a very good actor, though. It's like, you're damn sure not a professional voice actor. Like, let me put it this way: I would have been happier because I know there's some Hollywood actors who go into voice acting, like Mark Hamill, famous for it, and he arguably has given us the best version of the Joker we've ever had
yeah,
with the animated series version of the Joker. He's like, because Mark Hamill's Joker really captures that this guy is dangerous, but I also don't want to take him seriously because he does look like a clown. But he also just squirted some acid in the guy's face and burnt his face off. So I don't know what to. I'm terrified and also kind of also almost hysterical with laughter.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and then you have fucking Chris Pratt, who's just like, uh, he's phoning it in.
yeah,
Or maybe he's trying. He's just not at that level.
yeah.
Um,
Like I
like I
said, I mean,
no, go ahead, Kenoshi.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll probably see another trailer within the next because
They'll
it
do
doesn't come
better.
out till April.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
The
we'll
only
probably
way
get
they
some
could really
better
save
stuff.
this, in my opinion, is if they did this. Chris Pratt voices Mario, but when people hear him talking, you hear Chris Martinet. The only person who can understand him is his brother.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
hilarious. But
Yeah.
it's Illumination. They aren't that fucking clever. If it was DreamWorks, they could pull it off. Um, but Illumination is not. They don't make movies like that. They don't have that level of cleverness. Um, so, But I give kudos to Illumination. Their animation has gotten a lot better because the opening of that trailer, like, I always thought Bowser was kind of a joke villain, but they actually make him seem kind of fucking threatening. I'm like, that's your ass now, boy. like all of his troopers are all lined up. One dude's like about to shit himself, and and Bowser's like, open the gates. They're like, oh shit, It's like, I knew those penguins were fucked when they started throwing snowballs. I'm like, why did anyone do any research and realize this motherfucker breathes fire? He's a fire-breathing fire turtle. Anyway, he's a fire-breathing turtle dragon. As I was saying, yeah. It bothers me, and this is a worrying trend about Nintendo, how they keep on taking all the ethnicity out of Mario.
Yeah.
Like, it gets like when they did that shit years ago where he's not actually a plumber. It's like, well, the fucker works with pipes and shit. I mean, I don't know. you know. And then they changed his age. Well, he's actually 23. I'm like, bullshit. I don't know. No 23-year-old that fucking hairy.
I bet it could be sort of one of those overcorrecting things where you're trying so hard not to be racist, but in trying not to be racist, you actually become racist.
Well, I mean, I see where you're coming from. I don't think like that. I don't. For me, I don't like. It's like they should just let it be what it is. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like the original Laura Mark. Like here, well, the issue is that Miyamoto was never interested in story. So Mario is whatever he needs to be for the game. But the original lore, years ago, when it first began, was that he and his brother, he was a plumber from Brooklyn. He was a general contractor / plumber from Brooklyn. Okay. Eventually he was joined by his brother, and that's it. Eventually they got sucked down a pipe and somehow wound up in Mushroom Land. Okay, listen. He's a plumber from Brooklyn. I mean, here's the sad thing. The most faithful version of Mario we've gotten is the Lou Albano Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing. Because they were in Brooklyn being plumbers. And Nintendo's like, oh, we can't do that. No one had any complaints about them being plumbers from fucking Brooklyn. I mean, if you guys want it to be cool, you could have it so that Mario and Luigi, instead of trying to save this useless ass ruler, Princess Peach in her shitty kingdom, because her defense plan sucks. They're like, look, we're trying to get paid so we can pay the rent because Brooklyn's been gentrified to shit, and some hipsters bought our building and they're pricing us out. Look, we're here for the coins, bitch. We need the coins. Now that'd be some cool shit, but they couldn't handle that. That's too real for Nintendo. But anyway, yeah. I think that the Mario movie is gonna be. I think it's going to make a lot of money. It probably, just by virtue of it being Nintendo, people will go see it just to see if it's going to be a train wreck. I think it's going to do better. I think it's going to do better money in America and maybe Japan than Sonic did. I think people are going to compare it to Sonic unfairly because Sonic and the Mario movie are two different movies. Mario movie is completely animated, whereas the Sonic movie had a CGI character with a lot of real life backgrounds and CGI special effects. So it's not fair to compare the two.
Yeah, you'll definitely draw a lot of kids to this movie. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna watch it because I just want to see if it's gonna be a train wreck and if Chris Pratt can turn it around. But I don't have much hope for Chris Pratt considering that he fucked up Jurassic Park. So,
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see we'll see what this becomes.
yeah, you know what I
But
learned from Jurassic Park? I learned that from the new Jurassic Park, I learned that raptors are bitches. And look, listen, raptors aren't gonna rip your guts out and eat them. All you gotta do is hold up your hand and go, "Whoa, whoa!" That's what Chris Pratt did in all those fucking movies. Sorry, don't get me started on Chris Pratt. Anyway, Starfield, Bethesda recently said they're bringing back more RPG components in the Starfield. Uh, I didn't particularly care, but I thought it was noteworthy to think that everyone's like it's gonna be every Bethesda game is gonna be the best shit ever until it comes out like a wet fart, and people have to
yeah,
change
the
their
thing about
underwear.
the thing about Starfield, yeah, the thing about Starfield is that game looks that game looks like other trash. That game needs like another 2.5 years for it to
Yeah,
for them to finish it.
but you have to
'Cause
remember, Bethesda isn't. They aren't good coders and developers. They're good at taking the jury rigged, piecemealed, bubblegum and taped engine they have, the Luminous engine, and basically creating massive amounts of empty ass world that they then fill in after the fact. That's what they're good at. They are not good at crafting good, well told games. At least the Todd Howard era of Bethesda. They aren't good at that.
yeah,
So, and yet, I still think what's going to happen is what I think is going to happen is that Starfield's going to come out. It's going to be a buggy, glitchy piece of shit. Fans are going to fix the shit, and people are going to let them get away with it like they normally do. The fury and rancor that people put on CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk 2077, they're gonna let Bethesda slide on it. Even though Bethesda has put out more games that were in a worse state than Cyberpunk 27 ever was. Even the way it came out. Believe me, if you played Skyrim on PS3, it was worse than Cyberpunk 2077.
yeah,
Because at least Cyberpunk 2077, you could still save. Your save would get corrupted on the PS3 version of Skyrim. And then you'd have to start all over again.
yeah.
But don't say that because people get mad. Oh, don't say that. That's my favorite game. Like, okay, whatever. But speaking of the worst good game you've played, I just used a very good example. Skyrim, vanilla Skyrim, Skyrim. The way that Bethesda shipped that shit out. That a lot of people give accolades to that game, and I'm like, this game's not that good.
Yeah.
Only about 40% of that game is worth playing. The other 60% is extraneous and stupid. Like Hearthfire, hey, we're giving you a new DLC. It's not going to add new content or anything. It's just going to let you build houses. It's like, that's stupid though. Because none of the houses you can build are better than the houses that you can buy. Like the best house that you can buy in like the base games are still better than any of the houses you can build. So what's the point of building houses when you can buy something that's so much better?
Yeah.
That's like having a game where, hey, guess what? You can build your own mech, but none of the mechs you can build are better than the shit that you can buy. It's like, well, what's the point of having this gameplay system? That's stupid. So what is a game that you think got universal accolades and then it came out and you were like, oh, this is just fucking terrible?
Um. The Last of Us. I played I just got bored. We
Mm-hmm.
got to the part where you were about to head to the radio tower,
Mm-hmm.
and I just was like, oh, I'm gonna take a break. And I never started.
He
it
never
back
came
up.
back. You're like, yeah, I'll
Until
call you later. Never called the girl, just drove off. Lost that
yeah,
number, erased it for yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, the thing about The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 is that The Last of Us is one of those games where it would be The Last of Us would have been better as just a movie or a mini series than an actual game. And people are like, it's so cinematic. And like, then why don't they just fucking make it into a damn movie? Because I don't know about you. I want to play video games, not watch them.
yeah,
Okay? If like the only games that should have a really good story are RPGs. RPGs need to
yeah.
have a good story because RPGs inevitably are going to have gameplay systems that are boring and grindy, and you need something to carry you forward. Um, but that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the worst good game that I've played. Where I mean, Skyrim is easy because Skyrim's what 15 years old at this point. I'm gonna say one that got a game of the year, universal accolades, played it, beat it. It's a steaming pile of dog shit. Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, that game got game of the year.
They're like, this game is
Well,
brilliant. I'm like, fuck you.
the fact that that game got game of the year is just indicative of the fact that you just can't take these award shows seriously at
No,
all.
because there's no real critique. It's like, well, why? How did it get game of the year? Well, it's like there's no. You mean to tell me a game that plays like an empty fucking MMO, where the side quests range from, hey, go here, kill 5 of these enemies, and bring back 5 of their belts to prove you killed them. Mine, get me 14 pieces of iron ore. Like, this is the shit that you gave us. And you think that this is game of the year. Fuck you. Okay? IGN said that. GameSpot said that. Like, all these publications said that Dragon Age Inquisition gave them game of the year. And I'm like, Dragon Age Inquisition sucks. That game is
Yeah.
terrible. I mean, it is dog shit. The character classes are fucking trash.
Then you have, you know, every once in a while they'll get it right because I think the year after that they gave it to The Witcher 3, which made sense to me.
I
But
mean,
I mean, it's just
here's what I'll say about The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is a good game. Great. Eh. But I don't consider The Witcher 3 to be an RPG, though.
yeah.
It's a single
Why is
player
that?
game. Well, because you don't really control a party. You don't really have a lot of control over Geralt. I mean, you do, but like, no matter what you do, Geralt is Geralt. You don't have any agency over Geralt's personality. Like, the only agency you have is because Geralt is a sarcastic, old, like, long living bastard who's jaded. And even when you have him do something where it's like, well, I'm gonna let these monsters go because actually they weren't doing shit. Y'all encroached on their shit. It's still like he's still gonna say it in his Geralt of Rivera way, where he's just like, well, you live this time, some shit like that. And it's like you're playing Geralt through the lens of the developers, not through your own lens. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and for me, that does not make a good RPG experience. Like a good RPG, a truly good RPG is where you control your character's agency. Um, like I know this is gonna make me sound like a fanboy. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X was a better RPG. Came out the same year as uh Inquisition, I believe. And I think Xenoblade Chronicles X is better. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
It's a better game. For one thing, the only downside of that game is that the level cap is level 60, which is just fucking terrible. And
Weird. Because there are monsters out there that are like level 80, level
yeah,
90.
yeah, the level cap is level 60 for your characters, which is fucking terrible. And so then you have to so then at that point the game forces you to grind your stats by basically manufacturing really powerful equipment for your character personally and doll parts so that you
Mind
can.
that? I wouldn't mind a game that did stuff like that if they made that aspect of it more interesting.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, and this is kind of one of the flaws with Xenoblade Chronicles X is depending on how you put those pylons down that gave you resources. If you did it right in the beginning of the game, you actually would have the resources to build your character up at the end game. If you didn't do it right in the beginning of the game, like when you first started, you were fucked later on. So it was one of those things where it wasn't well explained, and they didn't really, give you that explanation early on. I have since gone back and replayed that game and done it the quote unquote proper way and had a fairly great time. I created a dexterity build that basically was dodging everything, like even the final boss. I'm like, even the super bosses. I'm like, oh, you hit me, but I dodged it. It didn't even touch me. Evade. But like Xenoblade Chronicles X, I liked because you did have player agency. There were ways that you could talk to people and do side quests that would completely change depending on what your actions were during the quest and what you said to people, which I thought was a very interesting touch. You felt like you were controlling, you had a say in what was happening to that colony and what happened to various aliens that joined you and shit like that. You play The Witcher, you're going through their story. No matter how good, and I know a lot of the DLC for The Witcher 3 is great. A lot of those side stories are great, but some of them are just like, I don't like this character. I don't like these choices you've given me. It suffered from Fallout 4 syndrome.
Like a coloring book instead of the lines being black and white.
Yeah, it's like a
Multiple
coloring book
colors.
where you have to draw inside the lines instead of a sketchbook where you can draw where the fuck you want.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the problem. Or like I said, it's like the difference between Fallout 4 and Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 4, they want you to go through their story, but their story sucks. So it's like, why would you force players to go through your shitty ass narrative? Whereas Fallout New Vegas, the narrative, the main campaign of Fallout New Vegas isn't that strong, but the world building and all the shit around it is so rich that it uplifts that main campaign. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, the problem is that Emil, the guy who was the head writer of Fallout 4, is a shitty writer. Whereas the guy who was in charge of writing the shit for Fallout New Vegas is a professional writer. You can't compare a professional, someone who writes for a living, with someone who started out as a developer and then just writes some shit on the side.
Yeah.
Google tone deaf marketing. I will give you the line. I gotta go. My pizza has finally settled. It's cooled down enough to where I can cut it. Um, so basically, here's the general thing, and I'll let you run with it while I go get a slice. Google killed Stadia last week. This week, like like a day after they killed Stadia, they are hyping up a new Chromebook that's perfect for cloud gaming. I'll let you run with it.
So Google doesn't. Here's the problem with Google is they're all over the place sometimes. And every once in a while they'll have a good idea, like Google Music or Google Plus, and then they'll figure out a way to screw it up, and then take those resources or take the money that was necessary to have or take the money that was necessary to fund those uh, platforms and then dump that money into this grandiose project, like for example Google Stadia, and then completely fumble the bag with that. Like you already had, you already had two products that were working, in my honest opinion, pretty good. I thought Google Music was, at least to me, superior to Spotify because there were aspects of it that I thought were useful, like being able to upload your library to their cloud service. I completely axed that and said, here's a more inferior version of what we had before called YouTube Music, and it's baffling. Yeah, I think Google is too big. I think it's a company that probably needs to split off into different companies. And the fact that they have this new Chromebook that's supposed to be perfect for cloud gaming, when they just axed Stadia, it makes me wonder if there was some. There's obviously no communication between these two companies when it came. There are two aspects of this company uh, pertaining to marketing. It's like, oh, okay, we're gonna have a cloud gaming service. We're gonna have this Chromebook that's going to support cloud gaming, but we're going to shut down Stadia, making this product basically superfluous to what we were what we were intending to do with it. And other cloud gaming services, you got XCloud, you got Nvidia stuff, you got Amazon's cloud services, but still, I mean, this could have been a way to market Stadia and possibly make more people interested in it. But they've had plenty of chances with Stadia. They kept fumbling the bag. They had during 2020 and 2021 and partway through 2022, a lot of people were locked in their houses. A lot of people were working remotely, and it could have been a great time to market Stadia. But the problem was, it's not just the marketing, but their 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 scheme, their pricing scheme. Xbox, Microsoft, with their cloud gaming service, it's basically a Netflix for gaming, where you have games rotating in and out throughout, for like a six 6 month intervals, and with Google Stadia, you had to not only did you have to pay for the access of entering their portal, but you also had to pay for the full price typically to play the game. So when Google Stadia shuts down, well, all those games you paid for gone down the toilet. So
Yep.
you know,
They're like dust. Dust in the
yeah,
wind.
I think one of the things that Google could possibly do to their customers, and they probably won't, but you know, at least even if you don't have a computer that can run these games, at least
Give people a code
give
so they can
people
download it.
yeah, give people like Steam codes or Epic codes or wherever, so they can at
Ubisoft
least
clothes
download the game.
if it's a Uplay game. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it. But like at least they kind of reached out one hand out to the people who use the product. They completely fucked over the developers, except for Ubisoft, because Ubisoft actually went kind of whole hog into Google Stadia. Like they're indie developers who were like had games coming out in the next week, in the next upcoming weeks, month, November, December, January, and they didn't know until they got a fucking until this shit came out.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. This is, but this I don't blame Google as a whole. I blame Phil Harrison, because Phil Harrison did the same thing last year when when Stadia shut down all their first party studios.
yeah,
Like the week before, Phil Harrison's like everything. He went to those studios and said, "You guys are doing a good job. You're on point." I'm like, why would you do that? You
yeah,
two-faced motherfucker.
yeah,
If you're gonna fire me, let me know so I can get my resume together and go someplace the fuck else. Okay?
yeah.
Don't be sitting there telling me, "Oh, you're doing great." No.
Yeah, that was some that it seems like whatever Phil touches seems to turn to shit. You got the PS3, you had the Xbox One. Um, those are the two consoles I remember
The
him being
360.
involved with. Three.
He was involved with
Oh,
360.
360. Oh, he was involved with 360. That was well, that console. I mean,
That's the only console he was successful with.
console.
And yet the 360
Yeah,
still lost Microsoft money.
yeah,
Still didn't make money. Um,
yeah. I mean, there was that fatal flaw, but people were still buying Xboxes.
because there were
Xbox Live has
exclusives
been
that were worth having on the
big hit.
Xbox.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So
if you want to play
it's
Halo 3, you had to have an Xbox.
yeah. I don't know if it's just like this guy's just. I mean, he might just be a terrible leader, or just the people under him aren't. You know, I don't know. I mean,
Um,
it takes.
I'm going to say it's him.
I yeah.
Because here's the
What was
thing.
that?
If you remove all the variables from an equation and keep one constant, every time you put that constant in a different equation, it comes out with uh, a negative outcome. It's the constant, and the constant in this case is Phil Harrison.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, he fucks it up.
Yeah. Yep.
He fucked up the Xbox. He fucked up the PlayStation 3. He fucked up.
Yeah.
I think he had like a streaming service. He fucked that up.
Yep.
Everywhere I think it was Gaikai or some shit like that. Everywhere Phil Harrison goes, he fucks it up.
Yeah.
Fact of the matter is that Google did not have a plan in place to support Stadia. They were launching Stadia like it was a new console. If you're gonna launch something like a new console, before you ever put it out there, you need to have shit in place. You need to have exclusives, and I mean first-party exclusives, not some shit that you bought.
Yeah, that was one of Google's many mistakes is that they marketed Stadia as a console, not as a platform. Unless I'm missing something. I mean, they should have focused on it more as a platform, and then the console as a peripheral more so than a console
That would have made
to
sense.
access that platform. What?
Or if they said, "Hey, you have a game on your Steam, Epic, you play whatever EA Origin, whatever the fuck they call it, you can
Yeah.
upload your game to Google Stadia and play it through the cloud for like $15 a month, $20 a month." People would have paid that
Yeah. Yeah.
to have access to your library anywhere you want with your Google app. Shit, nah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially with the fact that people were having a hell of a time trying to get graphics cards.
Yeah,
You know, that would have helped out a lot for certain people. But
I mean
no,
it was a, it was a damn shame. But anyway, yeah, and the fact that they shut down their Stadia thing, but they're marketing a cloud gaming Chrome laptop, I'm like, how fucking tone deaf? You know what that's like? That's like a man. His wife just had a double mastectomy. And then she's in the hospital room, and he comes in and he says, "Hey, there's this lady next door. She had plastic surgery. She's got the biggest tits in the world." It's like, why would you say that to your wife who just had a double mastectomy? Why?
yeah,
You tone deaf motherfucker.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Google, you done fucked up yet again because you're Google, and that's what you do. You fuck up. Uh, finally, I guess we'll cover what games we're looking forward to this slash next year. Are there any games that have been announced or someone's talked about that you're like, I really want this to be good?
Bayonetta 3 looks pretty. Looks promising. Let's see. I was pretty surprised because I remember when they showed the first trailer, it's like, oh, this
Look kind of
game's
rough.
not gonna make it. And then they showed another trailer. It's like, oh, okay, it's looking a little better. Um, there's another game I was thinking of that was actually that they've been showing. It looked rough, but now it's starting to look a little better. Um, I know this game's a way out, but they've been marketing it like crazy, and that's Street Fighter 6.
Oh yeah,
Game I was pretty down about first
I
because
know, man. You were shitting all over it. You're like, I can't believe this. This is terrible. I'm like, it looks better than 5. I'll give you that much.
oh yeah, it looks way. The more I see of it, the better it looks. Like the more they've been showing of it, the better they look. It looks like they finally have a team that know what the hell they're doing with fighting games, and So it's nice to see that we're possibly, possibly the game's not out yet. Gotta wait and see. But possibly we are gonna get a Street Fighter that's worth a day.
Well, I mean, I think most of the Street Fighters have had their ups and downs, except for five. That game just launched in a state where there's a reason they fired Ono. Um,
There are so many people defending it too. Like I remember
Man, you were
back in
one
the
of them.
day.
I don't know why you trying to be all like, oh, I can't believe it, man. I remember, I was like, man, that game is trash. Nah, man, it balanced pretty well. I'm like, there's missing so many characters. Nah, man, it's.
Yeah, but I think I was pretty honest. Like, yeah, this game is trash, but I don't know. It's kind of fun to play, but and things just they get worse. Like there was just certain characters that were completely busted. Luke was one of those characters that was just came out completely broken.
Yeah, because he was there to hype up Street Fighter Six, because he's the main character
Yeah,
for Street Fighter Six.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, they
Okay.
basically baby faced him so that people would be interested in playing him in the next game, because you know they're gonna
And
nerf him in the next game.
yeah, and then
Um,
there's Abigail. Abigail too was busted
yeah,
when he
but
first came out.
I mean, it's Abigail. I mean, like let's keep it real, man. Abigail, the first time you see him is in Final Fight, where he has
Yeah,
that fucking charge attack that's damn near unblockable. I mean, he's got to be OP. He's like the ultimate Andore. You know, he's got to be like, hey man, you ain't just gonna roll over. It's like Sagat. Everyone's like Sagat's cheap. He's Bison's right hand man. He's got to be cheap.
yeah, yeah.
You can't be by. It's like when people get mad about Goro being cheap when he's Shang Tsung's right hand man in the original Mortal Kombat. Yeah, he's the second. He's the sub boss. He's got to be a cheap motherfucker.
Yeah,
What'd you expect? He was just gonna roll over and what?
the problem I had with a lot of the defenders of Street Fighter Five back in the day, because this is one of the things that's like, yeah, yeah, you're out of your mind. I don't know. It's like they were comparing it to Splatoon, justifying its lack of
Oh
content
hell no,
compared to Splatoon.
no,
When Splatoon was a new IP,
exactly.
compared and Street Fighter was a established IP.
That was
I was
missing
like,
core
you guys are
features.
nuts. Yeah,
Check this out.
get
It
get
was
out.
missing core features that they've had since Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, yeah,
It was missing. It had less playable characters than Street Fighter 2 initially at launch. It didn't have a single
yeah,
player mode, something that Street Fighter 2 had at launch. um, it didn't even have the mini games. It didn't even have the car mini game where you break someone's car.
nope.
How the fuck?
Yeah,
I mean,
none of
this
that
is
stuff.
shit that's been part of the series for years. They just cut so much shit out. And you know, and like, here's the thing. I don't like. I know Ono was the fall guy, but you know, he was told by the higher ups to get that game out by a certain time.
Yeah, because they wanted it out by the time of their Capcom Cup. It's like, dude, this game was only on one console. I mean, it was also on PC, but most people,
Yeah.
when they think of Street Fighter, they think of consoles. But they're like that that game was only on the PlayStation. You could have delayed it a few more months. Like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't.
Well, Sony helped pay for it for its development, so you know,
Yeah,
when someone else is paying the cost to be the boss, you got to dance to their tune,
yeah,
and that's what they did, and that's why Street Fighter 2 was in the state it was in.
yeah. Mm.
You know, people are like, oh, I can't believe this. It's like I can totally believe it. I am not surprised. Nothing about this surprises me.
And then they had to
Um,
release that Aztastic story story mode. Oh,
yeah. It's just kind of sad they made Ono fall on his sword for shit for decisions that the higher ups themselves made.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is.
They Hironobu Sakaguchi'd him.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And it it looks like lessons are being learned. Like there's this weekend they had a beta uh obviously it was a closed beta, but they had a beta, and this game isn't coming out until February, March, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't coming out for a while, so it looks like lessons could be being learned, but I'll wait and see until the actual product is released.
Yeah, I agree. I uh, I I like that they're finally acknowledging that Metro City is in the same universe as the Final Fight universe. Like it was teased in other games where they have Guy and Cody show up, Abigail Poison, or not Abigail, Andore Poison, Abigail Sodom, Rolento. But now they're actually just taking the gloves off. Yes, it's in the same universe because Street Fighter 6 takes place. The single player takes place in Metro City. So your single player, they actually up their single player game. You're not just going on a map from country to country. You're actually in a place and there's people. Maybe you'll run into Mike Hager.
I mean, it's actually for a game that's called Street Fighter. It actually has a street-like vibe to it, which we haven't seen since Third Strike.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just
So
this has always been kind of baffling, but
yeah, yeah. But Street Fighter had some good work ethics. Like if you got your ass beat by Colonel Guile, he would give you good advice to go home and be a family man. You know. But it's kind of a misnomer to call it Street Fighter, considering that most of these people, if I was watching a street fight and I saw some of the shit people do in Street Fighter in a street fight, I'd be like, holy shit. Like I need to put this shit on World Star. This dude kicked this dude 15 kajillion times. This fat sumo wrestler dude slapped a guy 100 times. This chick, I don't think she's wearing underwear. She used some multi-kick thing and kicked the dude through a wall. That motherfucker threw a fireball, and this guy teleported. These people are not street fighters. They're gods. They're gods walking on Earth. Why hasn't Capcom done Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat?
yeah, I'm surprised we haven't gotten that. I wonder if it's just a Japan thing. I don't know if it's just because Mortal Kombat isn't very popular in Japan.
They could do it.
People would just be like, yeah.
The only thing they would have to do is tone down the fatalities. Because they already did it in DC versus Mortal Kombat. Instead of fatalities, they had brutalities. Just tone down the fatalities and maybe update, like make that fighting engine less bullshit, because the fight engine in Mortal Kombat is trash. And there you go.
I would like to see the Mortal Kombat characters with the Street Fighter layout, just the fluidity of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Those characters would be a lot more fun to play if they played.
Yeah, they would. I mean, do you know how fucking amazing that would be? And you have it already priced out. Shao Kahn tries to take over Earthrealm, but Raiden fucks up the ritual. Raiden and the fighters fuck up the ritual, so instead of going to the Earthrealm that they know, they go to an alternate reality Earthrealm where, like, they're like, oh, well, there's no Raiden in this universe, but when they get there, they find out, oh shit, it's the Street Fighters! they're fighting. So instead of having Liu Kang, who's a Ryu knockoff, you have the real Ryu. You know, you got Shang Tsung versus Akuma. I mean, it could work out perfectly.
Yep.
You know, shit. You know, Shao Kahn versus M Bison. That would be an awesome fight because they're both assholes. And cheap asshole boss fights. Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Yeah. Street Fighter 6 I am looking forward to. I don't know if it's going to be good, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. I hope it does well. Let's see what. Do you have any other games?
Um, let's see. Let me take a look. Let me take a look. Cuz the thing is like I've been busy playing the shit I already have. So I haven't been uh let's see. I don't know. Not looking forward to multiverse. I know some people looking forward to Mortal Kombat 30th Anniversary Edition.
What does that have in it? Like,
It's all three games that have been updated with like the graphics have been cleaned up, the controls have been made, the bugs have kind of been fixed out of it. It's like the ultimate version of the original Mortal Kombat trilogy.
I guess so.
Let's see, Tekken 8. I thought that CGI trailer for Tekken 8 looked cool, but I don't really. I'm more excited for Persona 5 Royal coming to PC because now I have that game on the PS4, but I want to play it on PC where I can get a trainer for it and cheat my ass off. Um, the Yakuza Ishin spin-off game coming next year. January, it's coming February 7th, 2023, which is almost like a sign because January 7th is my birthday.
Yeah.
So it's like I gotta get it now. I don't give a shit about Hogwarts Legacy. I know some people are like Hogwarts. I'm like I don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck about Hogwarts Legacy. Um, let's see. Let's see what else we got here. I don't know. I mean, here's what I'm gonna say. It's not a game I'm looking forward to, but I'm just gonna say it because it needs to be said. Excuse me. I am tired of people talking about like Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red announced a new Cyberpunk game. Okay, that's cool and all, but they didn't even get the first Cyberpunk game right.
Yeah.
Like the anime was more faithful to the source material than the game. So I don't really, they could have saved that money on Johnny Silverhand and they paid to Keanu Reeves and going and went and spent some money on some other shit. But that's my own personal opinion. I guess we can finish it out with free topic. Do you have a free topic you want to bring up? Something you're like, we have to talk about this.
Yeah. So Brazil is one of the companies that's looking into the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition. Sony's been throwing a huge hissy fit about the fact that they aren't having their way pertaining to um, you know uh, they're afraid that they might lose Call of Duty and all that other stuff. And in Brazil, they brought up Nintendo. They said, "Well, Nintendo doesn't even have Call of Duty, and they're outselling everybody." So I don't know. Sony make an IP that's uh, worth giving a damn.
Yeah, but
Maybe you won't get Call of Duty either.
yeah, but here's the thing. You have to realize that Nintendo is marketed. No one buys a Nintendo console to play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
People buy PlayStation 4s to play Call of Duty and PlayStation 5s to play Call of Duty. So
Yeah.
it's not. It's like someone saying, "Well, hey, that mom and pop diner doesn't have a McRib, and they're fine. It's like, yeah, but people aren't going to a mom and pop diner for a McRib. That is kind of that's a false equivalency legal argument. And whoever that judge was who said that's not a very that's not a very I don't think that's a very sound legal argument. Because the although to be fair, it is not the courts. It's no court's job to maintain a equal market. Their job is, um, you know, laws and shit. Not civil laws, but not commercial law, but like civil laws and legal law and criminal law. At least that's through the scope here in America. It might be different in Brazil. But with all that being said, here's where I have to wall off what I just said. Um, I do think that it's detrimental if Microsoft gets access to all those IPs.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea. Them buying ZeniMax, cool. ZeniMax is not the only RPG developer in the industry. And they aren't even that good of an RPG developer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know some people gonna get mad. I like Bethesda games. You like Bethesda games because you don't like playing RPGs that make you think.
Yeah.
Okay? You like playing RPGs where you do the bare minimum and you're happy. You know? Alright? Because the Bethesda fanboys who love talking about Bethesda games, you ask them which game they played, and most of them will say Skyrim. Whereas I started playing Bethesda games with Morrowind. Like, that was the first game that I actually played and beat. And I got a shitty ending because I didn't know what I was doing. Then I went back and played it again where I actually knew what I was doing, and I had a great time because Morrowind is you're in an alien land with alien architecture. You're a foreigner among the natives. You yourself are an alien amongst a very alien and distinctly different culture than what you're used to. It's a great game, and like the cool thing about Morrowind, the story is that in Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, you aren't initially the legendary hero. You have to go through a series of trials and tribulations in order to have the chance that you might one day become the legendary hero that saves the world. And that's an interesting concept. It's like, imagine if they made a Legend of Zelda where you aren't the hero, but by going through these trials and tribulations, you may eventually one day become worthy enough to wield the Master Sword and get the Triforce of Courage and all that shit. That'd be a very interesting thing. I don't think Nintendo has the balls to pull it off, though. And then you have Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, where in Oblivion, Kenoshi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. For a second, there was no sound coming. Now, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, where essentially, I mean, the central conceit, the main story for Oblivion isn't that good, but the central conceit of the story is actually pretty brilliant, which is you aren't the chosen one. You aren't the hero of that game. You're the sidekick of the hero of the game. You're the guy who goes and does the lead work for the hero of the game. That's actually a pretty neat concept.
Yeah.
But then you have Skyrim, which is one big shitty power fantasy. But it's not a well done power fantasy. It really isn't. It's not a well done power fantasy. Like, if you're gonna do a power fantasy, do a power fantasy done well. Like, I think Fallout New Vegas or Elder Scrolls Oblivion or 3 or even Daggerfall do power fantasies better because in the beginning you're weak as shit, and by the end of the game you are essentially just fucking up everybody, but you earn it, right? You've had times where you were on a few little bit of health, and you were just trying to stay alive. You were eating food to boost your health up because you'd been poisoned, so that you could lose just enough health so the poison could run out, but you wouldn't die, so you could camp and stay alive long enough. Like, you went through all that shit in order to get to the point where you were a beast. Skyrim, you don't have that. Like, the only way they enhance difficulty in that game is just by making enemies into bullet sponges.
Yeah.
It's like, I just took an arrow. I just took a high level arrow. The highest level arrow you can get, which is a dragon bone arrow. I mean, a dragon bone bow. And I hit an enemy in the head with it, point blank. I sniped them with my stealth skill maxed out and everything like that. I hit them dead in the head, and then they got up and ran directly towards me.
Yeah.
That's their level. But like I said, Bethesda is not a great RPG development studio. They haven't been under Todd Howard. They've been commercially successful, but in terms of like well-structured games, no. So Microsoft buying ZeniMax and all that shit under them, id, all those other studios under ZeniMax, it's not a bad thing. Them buying Activision, that's tougher, because Activision has their hands in a lot of stews.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you not care? Do you think...
Doesn't really matter to me.
I mean, you don't have any legal say in it, but do you think it's a good thing, bad thing, yay or nay?
Oh, I honestly think that Tony probably has the right to be worried, but at the same time, Microsoft has, bought up various franchises. For example, Minecraft, and that's still pretty much on everything. Even the side games that come out, still essentially come out for everything. So I don't think Call of Duty is gonna go anywhere. At least not unless Microsoft decides to reboot the franchise. But I think they're just gonna let, as far as I'm concerned, I think they're just gonna let things go as they've been going until they possibly need to step in.
Yeah, here's what I think. I think it's going to go through. I think Microsoft is probably going to say some shit like, we will continue to release Call of Duty on, like, for this generation throughout the PS5. The next console, I think they're going to be like, fuck you, we're done. You don't get Call of Duty anymore.
Yeah,
that's what I think. And I think Sony is desperately afraid of that, because, like I said, no one is buying a Switch to play Call of Duty. People buy Sony consoles to play Call of Duty. Like, there are people who only have 3 or 4 games for their systems and have a PS5, and you know what those 3 or 5 games are? One of them is probably a sports game. One of them is probably like The Last of Us 2, or the Uncharted collection, or what's that other one with the fucking robot dinosaurs? Horizon
Zero Dawn, yeah.
Yeah, one of the Horizons, and I guarantee that last one is either a Call of Duty or Battlefield game. Okay? So Sony's like, shit, if they take Call of Duty off the table, people won't want to buy our consoles. And we need people to buy our... Look, Sony, like Sony fanboys like to say that Sony has great first party games. Bullshit. Sony's first party games are trash. People buy Sony consoles for third party. Just like people buy Xbox for third party.
Yep.
So, if Microsoft didn't have third party support, they'd be fucked. Same thing with Sony. The only console manufacturer who can make it without third party support is Nintendo. That's because they have really strong first party IP. No one else has IP that strong. Not even Sega has IP that strong.
Splatoon 3 sold within the first couple few days. It sold 3.45 million copies of Splatoon
Yeah, but that's still a
in
downturn.
Japan alone.
Yeah, that's still a downturn though, because the Switch is like 110, 111, 115 million.
Now that no, I'm talking about Japan alone.
No, I mean
Like
total install base. That's still lower than Splatoon 2.
no, I'm talking about in Japan
Yeah,
by
yeah.
itself.
Japan alone, that's probably what 20, 25 million Switches. So that hit about 17% of that install base.
I haven't seen worldwide
If there's 20
worldwide
million,
release.
if there's 20 million Switches in Japan, and it sold 3.5, let's round that up to 4 after it tapered off. That's roughly 20% of the install base there. If it's 20 million people in Japan, that's fairly decent. Um,
You can't. I mean, Sony and Microsoft
they would kill for those
would
numbers. They would kill for that
yeah,
for
they
those
kill
numbers. They would kill for those
that.
numbers hitting their install base. But I'm just saying, like because I didn't get Splatoon 3. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up either.
I'm
I
like,
might pick it up. I don't know.
nah. Cause I mean, it still has that shitty control system that is a step down from the dual screen controls, the asymmetrical gameplay they had in Splatoon 1. So, you know, and I'm like, I'm kind of I'm kind of played out on Splatoon. If Splatoon was once every console you got a Splatoon, I'd be cool with it. But now that they're putting multiple ones out, like they put 2 out this console gen, it doesn't feel special anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go and get it. It's like, like you get 1 Mario Kart per generation. That means okay, that's cool. You're getting like 2 of them, so it's like, I don't care. They'll come out with another one next generation. Probably. Anyway, I think we've exhausted the thing. Anything you want to bring? Well, shit, I was gonna bring up a free topic, but I forgot what I was gonna say. I got nothing to say. I'll just keep it moving. Any other thing you want to bring up before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I was watching some of the Surface tablet stuff. Microsoft was, it's the time of the year where a lot of these tech companies are announcing a whole bunch of new products. And Yeah, it's kind of funny because the lady that was talking about the Windows 11 update was saying, I've heard, she's heard that, Windows 11 is, people's favorite Windows. I'm just like, who's
Bullshit.
saying
Who?
that?
Yeah. Who
Who's
they
saying
asked that? Who?
that?
And how
Who's
much did they
saying
pay them to say it?
that? Yeah, exactly. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. Um. Here's some sad news. Angela Lansbury died this morning. Um.
What did she do?
Have you seen Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
The title song, "A Tale as Old as Time," sung
Oh
by
yeah,
Mrs.
yeah.
Potts. She sang that. She also
Oh.
was in. She also. You may be too young for this. She also played. Uh, the journalist, the writer, the mystery writer. I forgot the guy's name, Jessica something. In Murder She Wrote, which was like a mystery show. I used to watch that when I was a kid. And she was in Beauty and the Beast. She was in Disney movies like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Mary Poppins Returns. She played the Dowager Empress Marie in 1997's Anastasia, and she was the main villain in the original Manchurian Candidate. Um,
How is that movie, The Manchurian Candidate,
the original
compared to
one.
the book?
The
Yeah.
book is kind of interesting. Like I like all. I like both versions of the Manchurian Candidate. I like the one that was done where it had Frank Sinatra in it and Angela Lansbury, and I like the one that had Denzel Washington in it and Liev Schreiber. Um, like the concept of a presidential candidate being a sleeper agent to get in power and overturn uh, our very democracy. seems like an awesome work of fiction until you. Well, I'm not gonna get into that, but anyway, it's pretty good. Here's something you might not know. Angela Lansbury wasn't sure she was the right person to sing the title song for Beauty and the Beast, and then she nailed it in one fucking take. And that's why the Disney remakes that they do now are fucking trash. Because they don't have talent behind them.
One take.
One fucking take. All right.
You don't have one take actors anymore.
No. Because, like I said, and here's the thing, she was singing, okay, which is tougher than just acting, okay.
Yeah.
So you know what? Like when people are like, oh, the Disney remakes aren't that bad. Yeah, they are. They are inherently inferior to the old ones.
That's a pretty iconic song too. So
I know.
It's
like the Beauty and the Beast theme. Like there are people who take music, because I remember when I took music when I was in high school. There was a girl who did a rendition of that on the piano, played a rendition of Beauty and the Beast on the piano in order to graduate, in order to pass her master for that year's band class. All right?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the amount of music recitals I've been to, both singing and instrumental, where someone would do a duet from Aladdin, A Whole New World. People love that song. Or weddings you go to where people do A Whole New World. Listen, dance to that song.
Pretty iconic.
Yeah.
Like
people love that song.
It's like a staple song of that era when it comes to musicals.
Yeah.
That came out in
the 90s, people still playing it, and then they do this fucking remake with a shitty version of A Whole New World. I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out of here with this shit. Sorry. Yeah. Hakuna Matata. I'm about to go off. Okay, anyway, that's the end of the cast. Anything else you want to bring up before we wrap things up, sir? Anything you want to pimp out, show off?
Project Console
in this movie.
All the cast went up a little late. Usual, but I had problems because my computer was being weird, and I had to reset OBS. So it was split up into two parts. So I had to combine the parts, and the software I was using, because I was using DaVinci Resolve, and doesn't, for some reason, when rendering it didn't like the MKV files, so I had to throw it into Handbrake and convert the files into MP4 files. Yeah, it was a mess. So yeah, but the episode should be up now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway,
we'll be live again next
week.
Tuesday.
Yeah. So this is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Glad to be. I'm glad that Kenoshi attended this cast. Thank you for joining. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel some more. So rate, comment, share. Tell your friends about the cast. The YouTube algorithm buries this cast. I'm thinking of maybe also putting it on other places so we can grow it even more. I'm probably going to do that. I am still working on the script for my well, it's not a script, it's an outline for my Saints Row 2022 review, because more information keeps on coming out about what they're planning on doing for the future, so I got to change the last part of it, the last third of the review, but we'll get that. The footage is together. I just have to splice it together and make the video and record it, but that's not going to take too long. Anyway, look forward to that. Remember, we have a podcast. It used to be every Wednesday and Saturday, but my Saturdays are shot to hell, so it's Wednesdays only. So every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. to typically 9, but this time we went to 8:30. So that's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, and live your life. Peace.